Hi, my name is Jamie Johnson of the Johnson Law Firm, where we do estate planning and probate, and we do it well. Today I'd like to discuss with you, what is a trust? A trust is a term that you hear thrown out by lots of attorneys in terms of estate planning, and what it actually is it's a tool that we use not only to protect our clients and the creator of the trust, also known as a settlor, but also the beneficiaries of the trust. So it's a way for you to protect yourself while you're living, but also protect your children when they've inherited from you. A trust is actually a legal entity that you're setting up. In fact, it's a legal fiction. It's an imaginary box that we're going to put all your assets in and retitle your assets into this box, into the name of the trust. And the assets that are placed in this trust belong to the trust. Now, the beauty of a trust is the person who creates the trust is the settlor, and they're the original beneficiary of the trust. And the way that a trust is created is the settlor gives legal title over to a trustee, which is the person who's in charge of the trust. When we initially create a trust, the person who creates it is also the initial trustee and the initial beneficiary. So you're essentially giving your assets over to yourself. You're still in charge of them. You still reap the benefit from them. Everything is still under your social security number. However, you have now retitled your assets from being in your name to being in the name of the trust. And where this can be beneficial is it's a way to avoid probate. So by retitling your assets out of your name and into the name of your trust, when you pass away and your beneficiaries submit your will to probate and they have to fill out a worksheet where the court asks, what assets did the decedent or the person who passed away, what assets did they own in their name alone? All the assets that are in the trust are no longer in your name, so they do not have to be included on that worksheet. So they are not subject to the cost and time-consuming aspects of probate. However, they are still part of your overall federal estate. They're just not part of your probate estate. Now, it's a way for you to avoid probate, so instead of everything getting caught up in a 9 or 15 or 18-month delay through the probate courts, your trustee can collect your assets or divide them up amongst your beneficiaries and distribute them within 3 months. So you get to avoid the delays of probate, you get the efficiency of being able to distribute it all to your beneficiaries in a short period of time, but also it's done in the privacy of your trustee's home or typically in your attorney's office. It is not public. It is not made public record as it is when it goes through the probate court. So it's a way for you to maintain some of that dignity and keep that privacy of what happens in your family and your family assets and your family finances stays in your family. Does not become public record for the court and anybody else who wants to look it up. Through the trust, you can transfer your assets to your beneficiaries. You can put strings on them. You can make your beneficiaries or your kids, essentially, or your grandkids, do certain things or wait certain times in order to receive the funds. So if you have minor children and something horrible happens to you and your spouse and the money is placed in a trust, that money will be there for them as they're growing up. It can be spent on them, it can be invested, it can continue to grow, and you can hold that money to be there for their college education. You can also hold that money so that way they won't receive it until they are mature 25 or 27 or 30 years old. Whereas if the money was inherited through a will, when they're 18 years old, they're going to get that money. No strings attached. As through the trust, you can say the only way you can get the money at 25 is to have graduated college. If you don't go to college and graduate, you won't get the money till you're 30. Or it doesn't have to be college. It could be a technical program or a professional degree or certificate. You get to decide the strings are attached to your money because it's your money. It's not up to the court or the legislature to tell you how to give your money to your family. You get to decide how to do that. And the way you're able to do that is through a trust. Another beauty of a trust is they're revocable, which means they can be changed. They can be torn up. You can change who gets what, when they get it, how they can go about getting it. You control everything on a trust until you actually pass away. Only once you pass away does your trust become what we call irrevocable. Once it's irrevocable, the only way for it to change is for all the beneficiaries to agree to it or through a court order. The one drawback of a revocable trust is those assets are still yours when you're older. So if you have a family history of medical problems and you're worried about possibility of going into a nursing home for a extended period of time and you don't have long-term care insurance, then a revocable trust is not the best route for you, but an irrevocable trust, or what we call a Medicaid trust, is your best option. That is something that you need to speak to an attorney about specifically, because Medicaid trusts are highly unique and have specific requirements on them that don't apply to revocable trusts. Revocable trusts are much more relaxed, willy-nilly, because you don't necessarily get the benefits that you would at an irrevocable trust. However, one of the drawbacks of an irrevocable trust is that you lose a lot of the control that you would have in a revocable trust. All these things can be discussed with an attorney to further lay them out, to diagram them out, so that way you would have a better understanding of trusts, whether it be revocable or irrevocable, the benefits you get from them, some of the drawbacks you have from them, and what is best for you and your family. If you have any of those questions, feel free to reach out to the Johnson Law Firm. We'll be happy to answer them for you.